Hello again. It's me, James, your instructor, coming to you with the last video for Getting Started Week. This would have been a lot of information between the other two videos and this video to give you all at once. So I thought it best to break it up into three different videos. So tonight I want to focus on the longer written assignments for the course. And of course, you can access all of this on Canvas under the Assignments tab. You can click on that, scroll down past the discussion forums and the quizzes, and down here to your written assignments, which are in the order of when they're due. And the first one is due week 4. Now, we're getting started week. Week 1 begins this coming Monday, the 23rd of June. And so this is a little bit down the road. It's due by July 20, but it's the kind of thing that you're going to want to get a head start on. I know you can read this, but I do want to just go over the highlights of it, just kind of give you an overview of each of these. One thing before I start with these assignments, one of you asked me a great question after watching my video and realizing that I'm a stickler for word counts, particularly making sure you have at least the minimum amount. And the question was, what about going over the word count? And on the forums, your initial responses and your responses to classmates, I don't have any issue with expanding upon your answers. And those are conversational, those are kind of group exercises, discussion exercises. And so I'm not going to be I'm not going to penalize anybody for if the minimum is 125 in words and you go 300. That's fine. However, on these written assignments, I'm going to want you to stay within 100 words of the minimum. Okay. And I'll show you what I mean, starting here with this interview with your pastor. Now, there are some specific instructions here for this. You're going to be interviewing your pastor, submitting a report, giving us a summary of the interview by midnight on Sunday of week 4. If you are a pastor, you are asked to interview a pastor who's a peer, a colleague, or an overseer or elder bishop who is a pastor. Okay. The interviewee must be a pastor, not a deacon, Sunday school teacher, or another layperson. If you don't currently have a pastor, please notify me and I will connect you with a pastor who you can interview. Okay. You can either meet with the pastor in person or you can simply email the questions below to the pastor. Then here are the assignment specifics. And again, you can read these, but just to go over it, you'll submit a report. It needs to be in a Word document, not a PDF file or a text file. Double spaced, 1-inch margins, and your name should be at the top of the paper. Okay. It should have an introductory paragraph introducing the pastor, their ministry experience, where they currently minister, and a 1-sentence summary of their approach to spiritual formation in that introductory paragraph. Now, the minimum requirement for this paper as far as word count is 900. This does not include your title, your name, stuff like that. Okay. Each paper will be graded on the following: 60% on your content and grammar and conventions, 40%. And there's a special note here. You may send the pastor the interview questions by email, and they may respond to the questions by email, but you must indicate in your introductory paragraph that you have done so. Okay? And here are the questions. I will speak to this more as we get closer to the assignment, but here are the questions that you're to send to the pastor or to ask the pastor in an interview. All right. Now, the final paragraph or 2 of your paper should be a response to the interview. Your response should include what you agree with and what you don't. If you disagreed with the pastor, explain why. Were there any differences between what the pastor had to say and what you have learned in this course so far up to that point about spiritual formation and kingdom ethics? How do you respond to those differences? And then how has this interview challenged you to grow spiritually? Okay, so that's due week 4. And again, any and all questions, shoot them my way. Now back to the word count thing, and I won't belabor this, but so the minimum is 900. I really don't want this paper to be more than 1,000 words. Okay. And there's a reason for that. It causes us to write more succinctly, more and more concisely than just flowering it up. Okay, so that's this assignment, and that's week 4. Now coming up, I believe the very next week, yep, is your spiritual practice essay. And this is from Ruth Barton, Choosing Spiritual Disciplines that correspond to our needs. There's a lot of introductory material here that you're going to want to read. All right. But over the next 2 weeks, you will practice a spiritual discipline and write about your experience. Take a look at the list below and identify a barrier to spiritual growth, what Barton calls sin, that you feel might be keeping you from becoming the person God wants you to be. And then you read the chapter about the corresponding spiritual discipline in Soul Feast. Okay. So part 1, for 2 weeks, practice this spiritual discipline daily and keep a daily journal about your experience. In your daily journal, in 1 to 2 sentences each, answer these questions. Here are the questions. Part 2, after 2 weeks, you submit a report of your experience on Sunday of week 5 for the course. So this is going to be, you're going to do part 1 for weeks 3 and 4. Again, I'll send a reminder. Weeks 3 and 4. All right. Then during week 5, you will submit a report. And here are the instructions for that. All right. Your report again needs to be at least 900 words, 1-inch margins, double spaced, Word document. Put your name at the top of your paper. And here are, and of course, the content and grammar. Now, what we're talking about here are things like gossip, sins of speech. If that's a growth barrier for you, then you're going to look into maybe self-examination, confession, and awareness. Anxiety and worry. Maybe the spiritual discipline is prayer, or Lectio Divina, which is sacred reading, and you'll learn more about that as we go through. And they are all here for you to take a look at and to guide you through and kind of discover what perhaps your growth barrier is and the corresponding spiritual discipline. Okay. So again, I will put reminders in the announcements about this. I'm going to try not to let this assignment sneak up on you too much. Okay. So it begins in week 3 with you keeping the journal and doing part 1 and answering these 3 questions. Okay. Now, the final 2 pieces of the puzzle are your rule of life essay, which is due week 6. Okay. And I'm just gonna briefly touch on this. Looking through this, your rule of life, you're going to be reading about it in chapter 10 of your Soul Feast textbook. You must read chapter 10 of Soul Feast to understand how to do this section. You can read more about this. You're going to submit an essay, again, 900 words, but no longer than 1,000. Okay. If that at any time you feel like, it's going to be tough for you to keep it to 1,000 words, all you got to do is reach out to me and let me know beforehand. And I'll work with you. Okay. Okay. So again, here are an introductory paragraph summarizing your rule of life. 2 to 3 sentences explain the role of the Holy Spirit in your spiritual formation. In 2 to 3 sentences, explain your role in your spiritual formation. Describe in detail your rule of life, which should be broadly patterned after the rules found in, again, chapter 10 of Thompson's book, Soul Feast. All right. So again, you can do all the reading here for this. What I may do as we get closer to these assignments is do a video where I just focus on this, okay, this particular assignment. But I did want to get you that. And the last one, do the very last week of the class, is your congregational spiritual growth plan. Now, this assignment is worth 16%. Let me say that at the outset. 16% of your overall grade for this course. So if you didn't do this, the highest grade you could make would be an 84 if you made a perfect score on everything else in the course. All right. But we're going to imagine that you are the pastor of a church. We're going to take all of the resources from this course and create a spiritual formation plan for your congregation. You will submit this plan as an essay of at least 1,200 words, again, so 1,300. Your plan should answer these questions, and a little bit further down the road, I will come back with another video um, and go over this in a little bit more detail. Some of this is just stuff you're going to encounter and engage with as you begin reading your materials, as you begin engaging in the forums, and we'll walk together through all of this. Now, last thing for me to say to you is don't forget each week after you've done your readings to take your quizzes. Those are valuable points that you're going to want. Especially when you start dealing with these longer written assignments that we have for you. Just want to make you aware that there are 2 forums a week. There is a quiz over your readings every week that you should take. And then, of course, we have these projects which come in at the second half of the course, weeks 4, 5, 6, and 7. Remembering that the project for week 5 actually begins in week 3. So if your head is spinning and it all seems like a lot, just take heart and know that we have, after this short getting started week, we have 7 full weeks together, and there will be plenty of time for you to dig into this material and dig into the thrust of this class. Kingdom living, kingdom ethics, spiritual formation, forming our spirits after Christ. And again, it's my joy to walk with you through this material. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be looking forward to seeing you in the forums and getting your grades back to you and providing feedback and heaping praise on you as well for a job well done. So know that every one of you are in my prayers, and I am grateful to you and for you again for allowing me this opportunity to accompany you on this journey. So that's it. All right, those are the videos, the introductory videos for these classes. I'm praying again. I'm praying for you. Look forward to continuing. If you haven't yet responded to the Introduce Yourself forum, I would encourage you to do that. Some of you are already working on the week 1 stuff, which wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. God bless you. Go Skyhawks, and we'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.